Hey, how you doing? We're going to watch a video together, and this time, it's about self-defense. I've got a number of videos about self-defense that I want to make, and it does seem to be something that a lot of people talk about online, and I think there are a lot of big misconceptions. So what I thought we'd do in this video is simply find one that's had vast amounts of views. So I went to YouTube, I searched for self-defense, I sorted by popularity, and we got 5 self-defense moves everyone should know, Master Wong. Now, if you've spent any time on YouTube following martial arts type stuff, you're probably perfectly familiar with who Master Wong is. If I'm being honest, I'm not a massive fan. I guess maybe it's me being a little bit British and a little bit standoffish, but he's a little bit much for me.
No, thank you very much. He's
a little bit in your face. From a marketing perspective, brilliant, absolute character, instantly memorable, and, you know, fine. I'm not a massive fan of what he does. I think it looks cool.
Well, it's not really fine, but it's not why I'm here.
I'm not entirely convinced it works, but I'm not going to judge this video before we start to watch it. The thing to say about this video is that it's had 10.5 million views, which is a lot of views. And that's a lot of money he's made off this video. So, you know, the YouTuber in me can't fault him at all. But the martial artist, well, I guess we'll see. So let's start it, let's watch it, and we'll have a bit of a chat as it goes.
On this one here, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about 5 basic self-defense moves any Tom, Dick and Harry can do to able to save your ass if you get yourself there.
You've got to admit,
he's
got
character.
Basic
first one here, so you know. Somebody punched me in the face. So punch me in the face, boom, straight to the eye. Very straightforward. So let's go slowly. So he punched, bang like that. So straight to his eyeball. No more eye left. Meaning,
I think we need to talk. There's a couple of things here that we need to talk about. The first is that he's performing a move that's incredibly precise. And this is titled 5 self-defense moves everyone should know, and it's blocking a punch and putting like a fingertip in someone's eye. That's a really, really hard thing to do. And he talks about it as if it's really easy, but I promise you, it's absolutely not. You're likely to just scratch the face up a little bit and piss them off. However, I think one of the issues I really struggle with when it comes to self-defense is this idea that we're going to look at self-defense scenarios and teach those through videos. And the fact is, most of the scenarios that people put up there on the internet and show the defense, they're just absolute bollocks.
It's bollocks, actually.
And the same with this. I mean, yeah, it's possible that somebody might come in with one single telegraphed move, but I think it's unlikely. And if they do, is it really fair to blind them forever? I'd say probably not. But, you know, Master Wong disagrees. But I think the other thing that's well worth saying is we'll go back and watch this again as he does this move. But it's clearly a telegraphed move, and he clearly knows exactly what's coming, and he knows how he's going to react to it already, because as he starts, he sets himself into a very specific position to receive that attack, so he can perform the correct defense. In reality, it's never going to happen. So I think it's a disproportionate move. I think it's far too precise and technical, and I think it probably only works on YouTube because it's pre-choreographed. This guy is not offering any resistance to him. And if I was really trying to hurt somebody and I went to throw a punch, then I wouldn't just kind of stand there. You know, one attack never works. If somebody's trying to hurt you, they're going to be coming in barreling punches. They're going to be doing something. They're going to come in and try and get hold of you. They're not just going to stand there and go, okay, here's a nice telegraphed, predictable hook. But let's go back and watch. Here we go, you'll see what I mean.
First one here, so you know. Somebody punched me in the face.
Normal stance.
So punch me in the face, boom, straight
and he immediately drops down and comes around to block
slowly.
it.
So
Clearly,
like
this is not a self-defense move that everyone
no
should know.
more eye left. Meaning, No more pretty girl for you. If you got a nice woman, you get a mess up eye. Problem. So punch me this side.
What?
So this
What the fuck does that mean?
hand the same. So this hand have to be like this on the eye.
It's just-
The first one. Second one you can't do if somebody hook me. So when it comes to hook, boom like that to the body. The hook this side you can see, boom like that to the body. Okay? And then follow up and then the attack.
Have you ever been punched? Just a little dig. Not really hard. I mean, we're not talking the kind of liver shot that drops you to the floor, because this is not what we're saying here. We're talking just a little dig in the ribs, the kind of thing that mates do to each other as a bit of a laugh. It's not even going to wind you. And that is just the most ridiculous defence. We're going to block and we're just going to put a little dig. I know there's this whole kind of Wing Chun 1-inch punch, bricks don't hit back bullshit thing going on here, but really? I mean, really? I mean, just imagine Doreen, who works in accounts, who's in her 50s and she's going home, and somebody comes up to attack her to try and steal her handbag, and they come in swinging a punch. Is this going to work for her? 5 self-defense moves everyone should know. I mean, let's face it, we're down to 4 before we even start this one. And I think it's probably safe to say that we're down to 3 now, because this is not a martial art self-defense move everyone should know. This is clearly not going to work. But in his defense, he hasn't finished. So we'll go back a little bit and we'll watch it again. And I'll promise that I'm not going to stop it. I'll promise that I'm probably not going to stop it again until the end of the move.
If somebody hook me, so when it comes to hook, boom like that to the body. The hook this side you can see, boom like that to the body. Okay? And then follow up and then the attack. So the very basics. So the hook coming in, you can go boom
sure
like this, straight in like that. Hook this side, boom like this. Hook this side, and boom like this. That can be done. Okay? If you want to follow up to do that, to attack, that can be done. Or if you want to do this kind of movement, boom like this, and straight the elbow there to hurt him. Or
really?
You can go like hook in. So boom like this, straight elbow coming into that, and then follow up and smack him in the face, bust him up and do that. That can be done. Very basic and simple, not very hard.
Very basic and simple, and ineffective. I think one of the things that this seems to completely miss out on is the fact that the kind of person that's going to come up and physically assault you in public in a scenario where you're going to need to physically defend yourself is probably relatively familiar with fighting. They probably rely on surprise and you not reacting well for it to work, but they've probably been in quite a number of physical altercations. I think the chances of somebody who's never had a fight and has never thrown a punch and has never been hit going out and trying to mug someone, I think that's pretty low. I think it's unlikely. So I think the chances are the person throwing the initial punch is likely to understand what it feels like to get hit. And so that little bang, little point of the elbow to the sternum, it's not going to work. That's not going to stop a fight. All he's going to do is grab hold of you. Or if you get close enough, he's going to put in an elbow himself. It's not going to work. It doesn't defeat your opponent. It doesn't disable them. It doesn't prevent them from carrying on attacking. And it doesn't get you out of the situation. And if it doesn't do any of those things, why is it here? So, yeah, that's not a self-defense move. Everyone should know. Sorry, Master Wong, you are not correct.
Not at all on this kind of movement, because this kind of movement sometimes, especially the hook, sometimes they come in very close. When you come in that, very close. See, that will be attacking straight to there, and then now the follow up, and then you do the movement. Very easy to do.
Yeah, and that would work perfectly if your attacker didn't have another arm.
Basic and simple. People want to kick me in the nut, kick me in the nut, kick it up, boom like this, straight to the kneecap here, down, and then from there.
I can't help but notice he started this one by saying, people like to kick me in the nuts. And I think you have to ask yourself, maybe you're not making great life choices if lots of people want to kick you in the nuts. But again, you look at this technique and clearly he knows exactly what's coming in. He's shifting his weight back, he's sprawling, he's shooting backwards so he can block this down with both hands. what if the guy's feinting a kick to the nuts and then he's coming in with a hook? Because your hook defence involved you getting your arm up and covering, not getting both arms down. Yeah. Let's watch it again.
Okay, so the third one gonna be very basic and simple. People want to kick me in the nut, kick me in the nut, boom like this, straight to the knee,
and then a little kick to the knee.
From there,
but the fact is, with that little kick to the knee, I won't pause it. We'll keep him going. That little kick to the knee that he does there, you can see exactly the defence. It's not going to break his knee. It's not going to damage the ligaments, because as soon as that pressure comes in, he's going to let his knee fold and come round. And he might drop down, and you might be able to beat him up, but...
Because you're going to put the knee right up the asshole, you know? So that's the basic one. Another one you can't do with this kind of movement here.
Now, Master Wong, I don't think there's any need for that kind of language. I think if you're going to turn somebody in some way so that you're facing their back, then you've got effectively a free shot at that point. And whether you're a striker or a grappler, you've probably got something that's going to knock him out. You're certainly not going to go sticking your knee up his arsehole. You know, it's silly. It's just not the dumb thing, is it? And for me, I suspect it would probably be a rear naked choke. If somebody's attacking me and we're in a nice clear space, as he is, and I can see around me, I've got good visibility, and the person's coming in, and you've managed to spin them round, just pop it behind. You know, why would you not? You know, get that arm around, lock it in, and you've got full control. If you don't want to do that, then kick them hard in the back, make them fall over, punch them in the side of the head, whatever it's going to be. Do something. But I think that there's a basic principle here that the response has to be proportionate to the original attack, and there's this whole thing about it's better to be judged by 12 than carried by 6, and that, you know, fine, I get that as a principle. But, you know, if somebody comes in and tries to kick you, and you then kill them, that's probably not a proportionate response. Is it? And what do you think? Am I talking rubbish? Is it okay to just blind somebody or cripple them because they've tried to do this? When you've got the ability to get away, you're a trained martial artist, you've managed to turn them, you know, you can probably safely assume that you're on CCTV at this point, and that, you know, when you're being judged by 12, they're actually watching it. And they've got other martial artists in as expert witnesses talking about what's going on and what you're able to do and what your options were at that point. And I think possibly crippling somebody or blinding them, that's not a smart move. Anyway, let's get back and see what dear old Master Wong has to say. Okay, shirt grab. Beautiful. Okay, shirt grab and punch. Okay, we're going to karate chop him in the neck. We're going to snap his thumb?
Sometimes it's
Really?
difficult to let grab hold of this to move. So when the hook coming in, you go like this, hurt him first, looking for the thumb, and then you breaking like this. Up, you breaking like this. So the arm coming out. Very basic and simple, breaking the arm on that.
He says it's
there.
very basic and simple,
So,
doesn't he? But
very simple. Let me show you slowly again.
I'm not convinced it
right
is.
Here, what is going on? Hook we come in. Boom, like that, to break into that
Are the sound
then
effects and
that's where the
facial
arm
expressions
broken.
part of it,
Very
do you
basic
think?
and simple. Another one you might get sometimes. Just grab you in the body when you come along. Hook.
If there's any justification for learning Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for self-defense, it's this technique. One of the first things you get taught, or at least first things you should get taught if you're fighting in the gi, if you're training in a gi, is how to break someone's grip. If someone comes in and takes your collar, it's how to get them off it. And it's relatively easy. And once you have the understanding of how that's going to happen, yeah, if you're wearing normal outdoor clothes that don't have reinforced lapels, it might tear. But, you know, that's okay. You don't have to punch somebody in the throat. You can just take their hand off. Maybe that would be a better response. Now, I've lost count of how many moves there were here. I feel like we've probably had 4 or 5 already. But so far, I'm not convinced that any of them are moves that everyone should know. let's keep going and see where the magic is.
Gonna come along and they grab you like this, like that.
Okay.
So that you get a
Cool.
lot. So
This one's nice
again,
and easy.
right, grab over there, smack with his face to distract him first, smack him to his leg. So everybody can smack somebody on the leg. It's very easy. Boom to the leg like this, very easy. And move back and then smack it to the nut here. So he won't be able to have no more kitty. So it's a problem. So let me show you.
We'll just ignore that last bit. I'm thinking here, and forgive me for this, but I'm thinking miscongeniality.
But just remember to sing. S-I-N-G. Solar plexus, instep, nose, point! Sing.
Okay, the kind of head back, stamp on the foot, down the shin, fine. That I know. I guess a lot of people talk this. It's probably not what I'd do at that point. I'd probably be looking to secure my own grip on their hands, break their grip around and turn into them. But I've trained that a lot. So whether that's a more sensible option or whether it's just something that I'm already quite good at, I don't know. But the kind of the back kick to the knots, I'm not sure that's a good move. But let's watch it again.
Yeah, slowly, very simple.
Yeah,
And like this.
arms around.
Smack from there, grab first, hit like that to distract him first, up, smack him to his knee here, to the leg here, to make sure the foot is gone, move forward, and then smack him to the
Okay.
nut like this. To make
You're saying he's definitely let
no
go of
more
that
kitty
point.
for him, okay? This is very basic, think of that. Very basic and simple for any monkey head can do. Anybody can practice that. Anybody can smack onto the neck, smack onto the knee, breaking the arm, breaking the hand and elbow to the body. Very basic and simple. So if you like this kind of thing, you want to learn some more, then subscribe to me on here so you can learn.
I don't like this kind of thing. I don't like the scenarios that he's using. Some of them, yeah, fair enough, they're fine, but the fact is these are really predictable moves. Any self-defense strategy that's based around being able to spot and recognize a move and diagnose exactly what's happening and come up with a counter move, I think is doomed to failure from the very start. And fine, if you know somebody's trying to kick you in the balls and you block with both hands, great, that's okay. But yeah, what if you don't know that's coming? I think self-defense is a really interesting topic, and there's a lot of people have some very strong opinions about this. Situational awareness, it's a bit of a buzzword, and it probably always has been. But, you know, walking away from potential trouble, great. But obviously what you have to do is train for failure. So your situational awareness has failed you, and you're in a situation where somebody's coming to attack. And I think that there are two ways you can approach self-defense training. The first is that you can learn how to fight. You can go along to your Muay Thai class, you can learn to box, you can learn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you can learn wrestling, you can learn judo, any of these things that actually teach you how to fight, and you practice physical, actual combat, is good enough. Because the thing that's most likely to happen when someone attacks you and you're not familiar with fighting is that they're going to hurt you. Because you don't know how to react. You instinctively do the wrong thing. And you don't know how it feels to get hit, and you're going to freeze, or you're going to, you're not going to do this stuff that he's talking about. You're simply not. It's never going to happen. The other way is to look at self-defense as an art in and of itself. And this is what a lot of people do. And I used to be heavily involved in the combative self-defense world. And the idea that we boil everything down to as small a group of techniques as possible that have as wide an application as possible, I think is the way to go for it. And that's not what he's doing here. These are highly specific techniques that are really, really difficult to make work. And what I'd like to do, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to, but I'd like to find somebody who's a little bit bigger and stronger than me. I have someone in mind, a heavyweight MMA champion of the world, who's 6'8", 6'9". And I'd like to see if some of these self-defense techniques work against him. I think it's probably safe to say they won't. But yeah, let me know what you think. Stick something in the comments. I'd be really interested. Are you a fan of Master Wong? I mean, do you love what he does? Or like me, do you find him a little bit too much? I'd be genuinely interested to hear. And if you've got any other videos that you think I should be looking at, I've got a few lined up already, self-defense things, and they're very interesting. And we'll have a bit of a talk through them. But yeah, do send them to me. And yeah, I hope you're doing well. I hope you've enjoyed this video. And yeah, to those of you still here at the very end of the video, fight team.